what happened to the SELTA. Can you tell me, please, what is your reaction to what happened to the SELTA? Do you think the SELTA is a must to start your career or not? This session is a kind of a 30-minute session with Mr. Nabil, and it's very important to talk about moving from passion to profession and from profession to passion, how to avoid kind of the teacher burnout. So what is your reaction? What do you think, Mr. Nabil, about the price increase that happened to the SELTA?
Well, talking about those certificates when it comes to, when thinking about professional development, I always think about the value that I get from the courses that I take and the money I spend and the opportunities I get after taking or finishing a course. Talking about the CELTA, yes, it helped me a lot to answer lots of questions in my mind because I've taught in different contexts. I've taught young learners, teenagers, and adults, but I had lots of questions, unanswered questions, and no one was able to help me answer them. But when I took the CELTA course, it helped me a lot. But again, a lot of people offer TEFL courses that are much better in the quality and much longer. And these courses include more, information than the CELTA does. Okay. So I don't think that we have to feel bad, to feel sad about the overpricing of the CELTA course. We have the FELT scholarship that is offered by the American University in Cairo, and it doesn't differ from the quality of the CELTA. We have lots of wonderful trainers in Egypt and outside Egypt that offer TEFL courses for all teachers from all around the world. So no need to think of it as a big deal. It's not a big deal. We should always have alternatives. That's what we should do. We're the masters of resilience here in Egypt, and we have to try to find some other alternatives. Alternatives, yes. That's
I
what I
just want
think.
to tell you something, Mr. Nabil, because of the too much talk nowadays about the SELTA. I know quite well that the price increase has become trendy. I don't know if you have noticed this or not, but almost all our colleagues are talking about the SELTA, and many people are shedding tears and they're crying. So many are disappointed because the prices have gone up for the SELTA. For those who do not know the SELTA is a Cambridge course for those starting their career in teaching. Of course, Mr. Nabil, you know quite well that people who have got 10, 15 years of experience don't need the SELTA. Maybe they need something more than that, maybe the Delta. So when I finished my PhD and
السلام
after that,
عليكم. بابا المجال موجود.
موجود يا فندم.
So once again, when I took the PhD and after the PhD, I felt that maybe I need some certificates. I started with the Delta, not the SELTA. So it's very important to understand that SELTA is not a must. It's not a must-have. It's something very, very important to know. What matters the most is what? To have alternatives. Do you think there could be alternatives to the SELTA? What could be the alternatives to the SELTA? Can you please write in the chat box? I want you please to tell me, because I want to share something with you guys, which is the NEL Relo FELT Scholarship. I don't know if you know this or not. While you're all disappointed about the increase in the prices of the SELTA, the AUC NEL is offering scholarships for the FELT. And this takes me back to what Mr. Nabil has said. It's not a matter of certificates. It's a matter of implementing the teaching pedagogies and methodologies. So you have to update yourself. You don't have to be teacher-centered. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for something which is affordable, why? Because for me, teaching is not only a passion. It's also a profession. So it's important to polish your abilities and your talents with theories, applications, practicums, TPs. So let me just walk you through from the very first point. If you're so disappointed with the SELTA, you've got the NEL Relo FELT Scholarship. And as you can see, the deadline is still, I think the deadline is still in June. So yeah, you see, course schedule is which will end 21st of April. And if you want to have something or a certificate which is a kind of an alternative to the SELTA, you can find the FELT. And of course, FELT is 60 hours. This is opposed to 120 hours in SELTA, right, Mr. Nabil? So the FELT is 60 hours, and you have all the basics of teaching, like how to teach receptive skills, how to teach productive skills. However, how many of you guys are interested in having a scholarship from the AUC? Hello, guys, can you tell me? How many of you guys are interested in having a scholarship? Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. If you would like to have this kind of scholarship, okay, if you want to have this scholarship from the AUC, the first thing you have to do, and this is very much related to the topic of the day, how to change the passion to profession and vice versa. Sometimes when you work as a teacher on your own without the community, you feel so kind of disengaged and you feel kind of bored, right, Mr. Nabil? So it's very, very important to feel that you're a member of the community. So number one, if you want to boost and develop your passion for teaching, the first thing you should do is to join NELTESOL.org. Guys, how many of you know Nile TESOL? How many of you guys are members of Nile TESOL? Okay, I'm actually sharing the link with you here. I'm actually sharing the link with you. Here we go. NELTESOL.org. 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 I want you to go to the Nile TESOL community.
I think, I can recognize the person who's standing on the stage. This was in the previous conference or maybe the one before it, and it was Nick Bilbro.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
And
so I've been attending this conference for almost 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I've been attending this conference for 15 years, my friend, because we've been doing the conference maybe until now for 25 years. So once again, I want you to go to Nile TESOL, and I want you to go down and become a member. If you go, we'll know more about the Nile TESOL, and it's very important to become a member. Here we go. If you go to become a member, you will become a member for free. Okay, guys, I'm going to share the link with all of you here before I start my talk. Here we go. I want all of you guys. Yes, I totally agree with you. I want you today to talk about how to develop yourself professionally, because teaching is not just a passion, it's also a profession. So number one, you have to join international communities, because you're not an island. You're not living on your own. You have to become a member of a community. I want you to become a member for free. And once you are a member, go to the website and click on Nile TESOL scholarships and click on the FELT scholarship, which will end in April. So we're talking about 2 weeks from now. And I want you to go through the requirements for the scholarship. If you want to develop yourself, SELTA is not the dead end. I don't want you to be kind of disappointed. I know quite well that most of you are passionate teachers, but still we can have alternatives like the FELT, you see. But you have to, number one, be a member at Nile TESOL. You must present your national ID, send a CV, and the scanned copy of your university degree. You have to provide your experience certificate. You have to sign something called the declaration form. So once again, I will leave this page in front of you and I will send you the link. It's very important if you're talking about professionally, how to be professionally passionate. Number one is to become a member of a community. Number two, you have to get a certificate. If not SELTA, you have the TEFL, you have the TESOL, you have number three, the FELT. And my question is, do you think one of the requirements is language? Do you think it's very important submit something related to language? Hello, guys, can you
Sure.
tell me? Hello, Anglicization. Everybody, can you answer me?
That's the answer of a question that has been dropped in the chat box. And
Yes.
let me say yes, you have to take the IELTS exam or the OEPT or SEPT at the American University in Cairo in order to, have an opportunity to get the course or to get the scholarship.
Excellent. And here is my question, my friend. If we're talking today about how to professionally develop yourself, so one of the requirements of any scholarship is that you are B2 on the CEFR. And by the
At
way, if we're
least,
talking about B2, we are talking about what score in IELTS. So you're talking about IELTS academic band 6, okay? You're talking about IELTS academic band 6, minimum 6 or 6.5. No, not 7. 7 is C1, okay? So we're talking about if you want to professionally develop yourself, you have to work on your language. I don't want you just to follow the trend that everybody is upset with the SELTA. And if you don't want to take the IELTS because IELTS now costs 6,000 Egyptian pounds, you can take something called the SEPT from the AUC. And I think it will cost you around 400 Egyptian pounds. Okay, that's SEPT or the SEPT from the AUC. And if you want to take something online, you can take something called the OEPT, which is the online version of the SEPT. Once again, these are all different forms of proficiency test exams. And this takes me to the next point. I want to develop myself as a professional in the field. Be a member of the community. Be a member of EduCast, of NIL TESOL, of TESOL International. You have to be a member of a community. Number 2, you have to get a certificate because loving teaching only is not enough. You have to professionally develop yourself. Number 3, you need to develop your language. And here is my question in this session with Mr. Nabil. Mr. Nabil, do you think language is important for teachers?
the most important thing for a teacher is having a good language level because it all depends on the quality of his input in the classroom. So he should be at least in the B2 level of English in order to be able to communicate easily and effectively with his students. So number one, make sure that you develop your language to be or to B2 or to C1, B2 at least, or upper intermediate. And then you have to think about the methodology.
Excellent. So improving your language comes first before any teaching certificates.
Exactly.
And this is something very ironic. Yesterday, when I found a couple of days ago, people are complaining about the prices of the SELTA. I was simply asking myself, I think, guys, before you think about the SELTA, you have to think first about improving your language, especially that nowadays, as you can see, B2, you can work at national schools. I'm sorry to tell you this. If you get C1, which is band 7, you can work at international schools. And when I talk about developing your language, I'm not talking about grammar. I'm talking about your own understanding of grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation in terms of what? In terms of the skills. Number 4, if you want to develop yourself, my question to Mr. Nabil, do you think soft skills are important for teachers? Do you think?
Yeah,
I
well,
know this is something very important.
that's the most perfect question for me, because I've recently published a book on, the importance of soft skills or life skills.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, for every teacher, yes, they are really important because you need soft skills, side by side with academic skills in order to, succeed in the marketplace. In order to get a good job, you don't only need good academic skills, you also need good communication skills, and good or soft skills, because you need to work with your colleagues at work. You need to be good at decision making, critical thinking, be creative and get ideas outside the box. Lots of skills you have to
Problem
master in order
solving.
to succeed. Well, yeah, lots of skills.
And here is the thing. We have something called the attitude problem. Of course, Mr. Nabil knows that quite well. You know that
Yeah, of
quite
course.
well, that we have many
Of
people
course,
have
yeah.
something called the attitude problems. So you can be the best teacher in the world with the C1 level in English, with the SELTA and the Delta, but the problem is that you don't know how to deal with parents. And of course, by the way, it's not just about parents. Now, if you work at schools, you have the parents, you have the administration, you have the students, and these are the different dimensions of the triangle of the education: students, parents, and administration. You should not have this attitude problem. You should know how to solve problems. You should know how to work as a team. Communication skills, working under pressure is very, very important, especially during examination and assessment. Number 5, if I want to be a professional teacher, do you think it's important? Okay, Ahmed, do you think it's important to have something called assessment techniques? What do you think, Mr. Nabil? Do you think it's important for teachers to be aware of all the assessment forms? For example, how to design an exam, how to make an exam kind of objective, how to have the brainwash technique that the students learn something from the exam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's really important, yeah, to know how to assist the learners in order to give them some kind of or some sense of progress, and also, judge how successful you are in achieving your aims or your objectives in your classes.
And by the way, I want to tell you something. Of course, you know quite well that I've been involved in recruitment at some international schools. I don't know if have I told you this or not. In the last couple of last couple of months, or maybe during the last 6 months, I was involved in the recruitment of some international schools, and the requirements of the international schools in the Emirates, in Saudi Arabia, and Egypt was C1 in English. Number 2, diploma in education. Number 3, to have something like a certificate, like the SELTA or the FELT. Number 4, and this is something very important, to be an active member of a TESOL association. Okay, very active with professional development. And the last thing, if you want to work at an international university or school, number 5, soft skills. And here is my question. I want you guys to tell me honestly, do you think you can recruit people who are so clever, but they have something called attitude problems? What do you think? Can you please answer me? Can you recruit people who are clever, with the best certificates, with the best ever, but they have a problem with the attitude? They don't smile.
Dr. Mohammed,
they're always kind of aggressive. What do you think?
I've been through this before. Because right now I'm ahead of the department at an international school, and I had lots of teachers who have these problems, and let me tell you something, they're really difficult to handle, and yeah, we need to get rid of them, because this will never work for them or the school or the institution they're working for.
And by the way, I just want to tell you, it's not just about dealing with clients. No, Marwa, no, I'm really sorry.
With colleagues, with parents, with everyone in the institution.
It's the communication with everybody in the institution: students, administration, parents. And the most important thing, that when it comes to soft skills, it's the ability to be receptive feedback. Guys, do you know that Cambridge assesses teachers according to their ability to receive feedback? Do you know that or not? Okay. Do you know that it's very, very important for teachers to be receptive to feedback? If teachers are kind of apprehensive or kind of defensive all the time, who answered me? I think
to be flexible. Sometimes they attack and they don't understand the feedback and they take it personally.
Yeah, and this actually happens in the demo. Sometimes we, as a recruitment panel, sometimes when we have teachers providing a kind of a demo in front of us, we provide feedback and we keep checking the reaction of teachers during the interview. Some teachers during the interview, they keep defending themselves. And they keep saying, no, I disagree. I think I should do this. I know more. So once again, I'm really sorry. It's not just about the SELTA. It's not just about the diploma in education or a certificate. Or to be a member, it's very important to have good manners, to help people to be member of the teamwork. And number 6, this is something very important. Do you think it's important for...
In a good way in argument.
Yes, Marwa, right? Here we go. And the last
Yeah,
thing...
you are totally right, Dr. Muhammad. It's about the manner that you argue with your administration or parents or even your students. It's the way that how can you convince? Don't argue and don't be defensive like you said or you mentioned.
And by the way, as I always say to Mr. Nabil, there are basic requirements. There are basic requirements for all teachers. Teachers should have presentation skills. The body language, the eye contact. It's very important to know when to give feedback. You know this or not? Guys, it's not simply feedback should not be given promptly to every student. For example, a student is making conversation and I'm talking to Mr. Nabil and I say, Mr. Nabil so Mr. Nabil every now and then he cuts me off, has, not have. So when you as a teacher, you don't have the emotional intelligence of when to give feedback, how to give feedback, this actually affects your rapport with learners. This is something you're really surprised. You'll be surprised if I tell you that when it comes to recruitment, some schools, they keep saying we need to check the rapport level between the teachers and students. Do you think the teacher has the ability to develop good rapport with the learners or not? Because sometimes you have to be honest, but not aggressive. Sometimes it's very important to teach, reflect, and improve. It's very important, thank you, Marwa, to give feedback, when to give the feedback. And number 8, as I said before, if you want to be a professional teacher, there is something else we always say during the recruitment is, are you able to make learners assessors? Thank you very much. What do you think, guys? Do you think it's important for effective teachers to turn learners into assessors? What do you think, Ali? What do you think, everybody? Hello, excellent. Thank you very much. How to be an effective teacher to turn learners into assessors? I actually conducted a research study about how explain the rubric learners. Mr. Nabil, I'm sure that you've done this with your students and with teachers as well.
Of course, it's called peer feedback. Yeah, we call it an assessment for learning.
Yes.
So we teach the learners how to give feedback for each other, and we
so
first
it's not assessment of learning. It's assessment for learning.
Exactly,
yes.
You're right. Yeah, so we teach them the rubric, how they are going to be assessed, and then we let them, practice this together. But of course, we should be the models with them. We should tell them that or show them that we should provide each other with constructive feedback, not destructive feedback.
And this is something, guys, very important, which is called assessment for learning. It's very important for students to know on what basis he or she is assessed. It's very important for students to do something like they assess themselves. They do something called self-assessment. Self-assessment. You should do that. And peer assessment. And number 8, when you turn learners into assessors, this actually, when you do that, this actually decreases your
teacher talking time.
Burnout.
Your teacher burnout. Yeah.
And the TTT as well.
Yes.
And the teacher talk time. And the teacher burnout. Can someone explain to me what is teacher burnout? What do you think, guys? I want the students to develop themselves. I want the students to assess themselves, assess the learners. What do you think, guys? Yes. Something very, very important, that even if you teach at governmental schools, public schools, national schools, you should know how to reduce this kind of teacher burnout by giving them something called student autonomy, that the student should be independent. This will turn teaching from a very boring profession into something passionate, into a passion. And I'm sorry to tell you this. 2 weeks ago, I traveled to the USA, attend a conference. And guys, I want to tell you that 90% of the sessions in America tackle AI. And all the teachers in America who gave the presentations, they were Americans. So most of the conference presenters were from the States. And most of them talked about artificial intelligence. Why? They're not talking about artificial intelligence because it's an academic trend. They're talking about artificial intelligence because, number one, technology is something favorite, preferable to who? Is something preferable to learners. Learners love technology, so they enjoy teaching. They talk about AI because AI could add something called edutainment, education and entertainment. For example, instead of presenting yourself, you can have something like an artificial face of Cristiano Ronaldo with your voice. So this adds a lot to the fun and the edutainment. Number three, they found out that the AI could reduce teacher burnout as well. And here is the thing. Do you think AI could add a lot of fun to the classroom? What do you think, Mr. Nabil? I would like to hear from the people attending as well.
Let's talk about the second tab that you are already opening in your browser. It's for Magic School AI, and it's a wonderful website and platform for teachers to use to create lesson plans for ESL, EFL, or the American context, the British context. Exactly. And they can create interactive activities, interactive passages, tasks for every kind of learner. Provides differentiation for your activities and lesson planning. Yeah, so it helps reduce teachers' work and helps them to avoid burnout. And when talking about burnout, we're talking about not having enough energy to keep moving on, to keep doing what we usually do in the classroom, because we think that we'll feel that we are overloaded.
So I think that magicschool.ai is one of the best websites that can help you, provide you with lesson plans, material. It can help you a lot with coming up with study material, and it will definitely help you. There is also another website and an application as well. It's called Studyable. I don't know if you know this or not, but Studyable is one of the very good websites that can help you with the flashcards, and it will help you come up with charts explaining things, flashcards. This will add a lot to your classroom as well. I don't want you to shy away. I don't want you to shy away from artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has become obligatory. It's become a reality, and you have to accept it. And once again, my question is, do you think artificial intelligence, even like ChatGPT, can help students in classroom? What do you think? I would like to hear from you guys. Do you think ChatGPT and the applications can help or not? Can someone answer me, guys? Can someone answer me? What do you think? Can you please tell me, do you think that ChatGPT can add to the passion inside the classroom and can reduce the teacher burnout? Okay, can you tell me how? Can you tell me how? Because this is something that I've always talked about with Ahmed Rashad and my close friends in the field, my dear colleagues in the chat bot. Yes, excellent. Okay. Here is the thing. Chat GPT be really good and it would help you add a lot of information, but to what extent can it help you? Number one, do you think ChatGPT can add fun or waste time? Can you please write number one or number two? Can you please add? Number one, it can add fun to the classroom. Number two, it can waste your time. Please write in the chat box the correct number. What do you think? Is it a waste of time, or is it simply can add fun and a lot of edutainment in the classroom? Okay. The problem is that ChatGPT, thank you, Azza, thank you, everybody. Yeah, adaptive learning, adaptive assessment, a lot of fun. It can help students with assessment, can help students with knowledge, information. However, the major problem is that ChatGPT can also add to a lot of plagiarism. Mr. Nabil, do you agree with me or not? Do you think that ChatGPT, although there is now a website called AI Detector, right? AIdetector.com is a website that can detect, but the major problem is that AI can also lead to a lot of plagiarism. So how can we tackle this problem? What do you think, guys? What do you think? Hello, guys, can you tell me? I want you guys to answer me. How can we tackle this problem? Yeah, it's called Magic School, Mr. Ahmed Rashad. Yes, Mr. Nabil,
Yeah.
what do you think? How can we tackle this problem? Is that we want to turn AI to an educational tool rather than a cheating tool.
Well, it's all about training. So the first thing that I think of when teaching learners, especially when we first moved to teaching online, the first thing that should have been done is to train the learners on the platforms. And the same thing should happen with ChatGPT. So we should tell the learners always that ChatGPT is just an aiding tool. It's not a tool for cheating. It's not a tool for plagiarism. So we have to, teach them the necessary skills, the prompts, the language they should use. And also, we can have some kind of um, other activities or extra activities by having them paraphrase the outcomes of their searching on, on ChatGPT or any other AI platform. So yes, we should tell them that it can't be used to just copy and paste. They should have, a human, touch for
Okay,
their production.
yes, thank you very much. The major problem is that if we're talking about students, usually students try to find the easy way out, the easy way to get around any problem, to find the information easily. My study that I conducted was simply, I applied ChatGPT to Bloom's taxonomy. How many of you guys know Bloom's taxonomy? How many of you know quite well the this kind of hierarchy of information? How many of you guys, if you know this kind of Bloom's taxonomy about the information of knowledge, knowledge is simply knowing the information, understanding the information, applying the information, analyzing it, and the last and the highest point of knowledge is simply critical thinking and evaluation. So this is called the pyramid or the hierarchy of information, which we call Bloom's taxonomy. And here is the thing. In what levels can we add ChatGPT to make education fun without wasting time and without cheating? Who can tell me, guys, in which, yeah, thank you very much indeed. Can you tell me, please, in which levels can we add ChatGPT? In which levels? Do you think we can use ChatGPT for synthesis, analysis, or we can simply save? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad Rashad. If ChatGPT will use all the levels, then human beings are useless. Then the whole educational level, the whole educational process will collapse. So I think the best thing to do is that when you use ChatGPT inside the classroom to reduce your effort, I think that you can ask them to use ChatGPT with knowledge and understanding. Knowledge means what? Just imagine that you are teaching them something for Shakespeare's Hamlet. So I asked them, guys, please, today we're going to discuss a drama class with Shakespeare's Hamlet. Who is Shakespeare? Please go. When you check for information, the simple information, without wasting the time of the classroom, ChatGPT can help you with the what, with the who, with the where. The very simple question, where, when, what, the simple questions can always be easily reached through ChatGPT. But later on, who is Shakespeare? Where does the play take place? It takes place in Denmark. Who is Hamlet? What does the play talk about? But once again, when we go up to the critical thinking level to make the classroom full of passion, full of energy, I think we have to go back to the human intellect. So, yeah. So once again, if we're talking about the lead in, do you know in the lesson plan, the lead in, you can use ChatGPT at the very beginning to help them. You can ask them, guys, you can work together, open your ChatGPT. Let's talk about who is Shakespeare. Do you think there were other plays called Hamlet before Shakespeare? Where does the play take place? So all these basic questions can be easily answered through ChatGPT. But when we talk about critical analysis, can you apply Hamlet to your personal life? Oh my God. What do you think about this question? Can you apply, relate Hamlet with the hesitation, with the inability to make a decision? Can you relate Hamlet to your personal life? Can you tell us a story of a person you know who has got this Hamlet's problem? So with these questions and the personalizing of the topic, I think here we're talking about human intellect, and the whole class will be actively engaged and you are simply watching them. So once again, one of the basic requirements for the 21st century teachers, one of the basic requirements is that teachers should be familiar with AI, with technology, with the soft skills, with all the teaching pedagogies, with the FELT, with the TEFL, with the SELTA. But it's important to understand to what extent you can use artificial intelligence. And by the way, guys, I want to ask you, sometimes we do something like I give my students common mistakes in writing. And I tell them, please, in groups, go to ChatGPT, write these mistakes and give me the correction, but tell me what is the difference between the correction and the answer and the correction. Try to explain to me the correction. So you are turning learners to become teachers, active learning, learner autonomy. So at the very end, the purpose of the session today is how to prepare yourself to become an international teacher. By the way, what do you mean by global teacher? Have you ever heard about this or not, Mr. Nabil?
So Dr. Mohammed, yeah, of course, yes, and sorry about that. I just want to summarize what we already said about Bloom's taxonomy and the use of ChatGPT for it. We can divide it by the level of the students. For example, for lower levels or for low level learners, we can use remembering and understanding.
Yes.
By having them recall the facts or understanding concepts. And for the middle levels, we can use applying knowledge and analyzing information. And for the higher levels, we use evaluating and creating, and here we
My friend,
use
I think you
evaluating
are glitching.
ideas.
I think you, yeah, there is a glitch.
Yes, is my voice clear?
Yeah, your voice has become like a robot after talking too much about artificial intelligence. Your voice has become like a robot. What happened? I think
Is
you
it?
got with the mic.
It always happens to me. Yeah, it always happens.
It's fine now. It's
So,
now back
yeah,
again. Human voice again. Human voice.
yeah. So now, yeah, I was just saying that we can deal with that depending on the level of the learners. For lower levels, we can use remembering and understanding by having the learners recall the facts using ChatGPT and understanding concepts. We also, when talking about middle levels, we use applying and analyzing by having the learners apply the knowledge. We can use ChatGPT to generate practice questions, for example, for applying the learned concepts or suggesting real world scenarios to test their understanding. We can also use analyzing information. And for higher level learners, we can use evaluating and creation or creating by having the learners evaluate the ideas. And, because ChatGPT can generate different points of view on the same topic. So students can use this and evaluate that. We can ask the learners also to create new ideas. So that's what I wanted to say regarding Bloom's taxonomy. But talking about global indicators, it's the understanding of the English language and the different contexts it is used everywhere around the world. It's having the global skills, the necessary skills to excel wherever and whenever you are.
Yeah, let me just illustrate more the term global teachers. And I would like to ask the attendees here, guys, can you please help me define the word or the expression global teachers? Global teachers was an expression that I heard at the International Conference of America 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I found many teachers explaining the concept of global teachers. And I kept asking and attending sessions. And I found surprisingly, I found out that they're talking about teachers are not only linguistically competent, English teachers have to be linguistically competent. This is taken for granted. I'm not talking about the professional level of language. Global teacher must, according to the definition, enjoy soft skills and cultural acceptance. In other words, if you are teaching,
To be inclusive.
yes, if you are teaching in China, Taiwan, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, you can accept all cultures. It's something called cultural inclusion, accepting the other, and emotional intelligence. Mr. Nabil, one of the things that surprised me at the conference was that 90% were talking about AI and 10% were talking about the importance of emotional intelligence while dealing with the students. All teachers nowadays are saying that, yes, excellent, thank you. How can we develop ourselves emotionally to be able to feel for the students? Students have more than one subject. Students come from houses and from families with problems. How to deal with these problems, how to accept the students, how to motivate them. Teacher motivation, emotional intelligence are actually quintessential and essential for global teachers,
And
not
also,
simply artificial intelligence.
yeah, and also it's important to incorporate, the issues or the global issues in the classroom. That's really important. Yeah, so it's a characteristic of a global educator. And also, a global educator should be a lifelong learner, right?
Yes,
And he should be open-minded. Yeah, to show some kind of open-mindedness, being open to new ideas and perspectives, and this by fostering, and this fosters a sense of curiosity and exploration in the learners.
And of course, you know quite well. I don't know, guys. Have you ever tried to find job vacancies outside or not? Guys, have you ever tried to find job vacancies for teachers abroad, in China, in the Gulf? Has anybody tried to find jobs and the requirements for the jobs? I always want you to keep checking the websites to understand and know. Muhammad Safwat, how are you doing, Safwat? How are you? Muhammad Safwat and all my dear friends, have you ever tried to go to this website? Of course, Mr. Nabil knows this website well. Hello, Mr. Safwat. Dave's Cafe. Have you ever tried to visit this website or not? It's called Dave's ESL Cafe. Guys, have you ever tried to visit this website? I want you simply to go to this website because I want you to discover what are the requirements of teachers the job requirements for English teachers in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, even in Mexico, Central America, Peru, Russia, Saudi Arabia, England. So in Thailand, you can work around the world, but you will find something common. And here is the finale and the last message that I would like to deliver in this session. What is the common job requirement in all jobs across the world? I know that's a challenging question, but what is the common job requirement in all jobs or in all ESL jobs across the world? What is the only job requirement? Can you tell me? There is one common job requirement in all ESL jobs across the world. What is the common requirement? Can someone answer me?
Having a good level of language. That's number one. That's priority. You know, so yeah, fluency and high proficiency. Exactly.
I'm sorry to tell you this. SELTA is not a must in all job requirements. Okay, maybe PGCE for British schools. Yes, that's definitely right. Maybe fluency. Yes, definitely right. What else? And the last thing, which is common among all jobs, is the history of professional development. Can you please? No, it's not IELTS. IELTS is not a must. IELTS, TOEFL, PTE is not a must. At the end of the day, you can get the high score in IELTS, but in the job interview, you don't pass the interview. So can you please tell me, Mr. Nabil, can someone tell me, what do you mean by the history of your professional development? Yes, of course.
Yeah, the list of courses you've taken, the list of professional development events you've attended, the conferences you participated in, the communities of practice that you are part of, you know, your role as a global educator of sharing knowledge and always cascading the knowledge that you learn in any courses that you take. And let me tell you something. Yeah, podcasts, events, online and on-site. So reading books, because reading is really important. Yeah, reading. Exactly, reading clubs,
And
communities of practice, and special interest groups. Yeah, that's right.
Are you
And
a member of
proud.
SIGS?
I was
How
proud
many of
to
you
have
guys
been
know
part of.
SIGS?
Yeah, I was part of Lions and Six one day, and it was such an honor. So yes, being part of teacher associations, special interest groups is really important to, you know, deepen your knowledge of some, you know, specific areas of teaching.
And they would like to see if you have been involved in any student activity. Like, have you ever done something for students? Have you taken them to kind of educational camping, especially in Europe and Korea, Russia? Some countries really are so much concerned about the level of how passionately. You've been involved with learners. Yes, creativity. Thank you very much. Yes, creativity in your activities. And this is why I always say professional development or continuous professional development is a must. It's a must for all teachers. You cannot simply be just satisfied with your graduation certificate. SELTA is not the end of the world. You must go beyond SELTA to work on your language, to work on your passion for teaching, certificates, which could be alternatives. Please work on technology and AI, be creative, try to work under pressure, but at the same time, maintain good relations with parents, students, and learners. And thank you very much for being, thank you for attending the session. Thank you, Mr. Nabil. Mr. Nabil is not feeling well, so I really wish you a very quick recovery.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you, you're coming here with us and sharing your insights and expertise with everyone here. And I really enjoyed, sharing also part of my knowledge with you and the other attendees here. So everyone, I would really thank you for being part of this. That's, the second annual event held and organized by Educast International. And it's a series of webinars. And in case you want to see the list of the previous recordings of the previous webinars, you can go to our YouTube channels to watch them. I'm going to share, the link in the chat box in a second. So there are lots of recorded ones. And we still have 2 more webinars. We still have 1 more webinar with Dr. Heba Othman and NEL from Cambridge. So everyone, stay tuned for the upcoming webinars and make sure that you follow, you follow our YouTube channel to get the latest updates of, I don't know what's happened. So everyone, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, just a second. Oh yeah, here is the link. Yeah, so click on this link and you will get the chance to visit our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it, and you will find the recordings of our previous conferences, events, and webinars. And again, thank you, Dr. Mohammed.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
appreciate accepting my invitation, and I hope that we collaborate again soon, inshallah. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this webinar or this talk or this chat is already recorded on our YouTube channel. You can always get back to it and listen to it. You can take notes, you can learn, you can share. So this is what we should do in our communities of practice. Thanks a lot, and see you, in our next webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye.